I think the accountability is not being placed where it should be, and we need to start holding superstars accountable to being better players on the floor.
That's a really, let me come back to you on that, because there's more to being a superstar, is what you're saying. And you, of course, played with one of the greatest of them all in Tim Duncan for so many years in San Antonio. There's more to being a superstar than just how you play. It's how you lead. It's the example that you set, all of that. I'd love you to pick up on that thought, because I hadn't thought of it, and it's fascinating.
Oh, well, Greeny, the fact that here it is when you don't love the game. I know that we have a guy that played at Lower Merion High School there. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. He loved the game. He understood his responsibility as a go-to guy, as a leader, as a guy that is to bring guys together and make others better that don't have quite the talent. We never got that from Joel Embiid. I'm going to give you a quick story, Breeny. As far as I was in San Antonio at the time, and Brett Brown and the 76ers were in town. He asked me to speak to the team. At this time, they had J.J. Redick. I talked about how the Clippers came up short when Redick was there along with Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin. And I said, you guys have to understand that it's so much about the right now. You have to play as if there's no tomorrow, because you're not guaranteed to get anywhere. And so after that conversation, I talked about also stay out of the media. Stop tweeting so much. And you know, the one individual who had a problem with the whole meeting, it was Joel Embiid, because he felt like he was being chastised for the things that he had been saying. All I'm saying is this: if you're going to say something for the world to see, don't be surprised when people have ill will or ill thoughts about what you're tweeting, as far as, I guess I'm a 5-man now, I'm going to shoot threes. Get your butt on the block. Be demonstrative there, just as we saw in the All-Star game, because there is a place for big men. But when you're not bringing the game quite like you should, now you have all these others saying, well, maybe there is no place for the big man. And I know that Legs understand that if you have a big man that creates that double team, there's going to be three-point shots available for the wing players.
That's okay. That is not at all where I expected you to go, Bruce, and I'm thrilled. Legs, I thought we were going to be having a conversation more about Brett Brown, but I'm much happier to have this one. What do you think of what Bruce just said about Embiid?
Well, I think there's a lot of truth in that. And I love his point about the accountability of the players. I've been talking about that for several years. I probably follow this team more closely than any other. It's right in my backyard. And I'm, constantly, I feel like, debating the merits of these players. I think for Joel Embiid, the biggest thing is when you have a star player and you run your offense through that player, and he has never really pushed himself from a conditioning standpoint to have the kind of stamina where he can stay on the court for more than 5 or 6 minutes straight without needing a rest. That's very difficult on a head coach. It's also difficult when your other star player, Ben Simmons, who's got a great motor and is an elite defensive player and a great playmaker, is a guy that's obviously limited with his scoring ability. So to try to run an offense that's predicated on getting a guy shots within 6 feet of the rim, that's a very difficult thing to do when he's a perimeter player. So there are limitations that Brett Brown has on these players. I think the reason they made the change was because they feel like Brett Brown hasn't made them accountable enough, hasn't demanded enough. And I'm not saying it's easy, because the player has to want it, but I just think they are looking at this experiment now over a period of time, particularly the last 3 years, and they're saying, okay, maybe it'll never happen, but it's clear that it's not going to happen with Brett Brown getting the most out of those individual players. And then if you can't get it, make the adjustments you have to hide their weaknesses. I think that's where they're at with this team, and that's where the evaluation, fell at his feet. And now they're going to see if a different voice can demand those things from these players. But Bruce is 100% right. They have to want it. There's some immaturity there amongst their best players in terms of leaders. There's no question about it. And that's why Jimmy Butler, I think, wanted to go to Miami, to be honest with you. I think he saw what was next to him and realized that, you know what, you're not going to break through here. I'm going to go to Miami, and with an organization and with guys around me that understand the little things that you have to do and the attention to detail to win.
Yeah. Bruce, final thought.
I made a statement yesterday about how we need more organizations to hold their players accountable. And Legs, you're absolutely right. Miami, they're going to hold guys accountable. It doesn't matter who it is. It's about the accountability, because when you are accountable, at least you can go to bat and say, well, hey, he did his best. Now Brett Brown needs to go. Again, I understand that it is the business, but when you don't have superstars given 100%, that's blasphemous against the game. This is a game that we supposedly love, and you want to maximize most of your opportunities. He didn't do that, and now people get fired.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.